Jesse Minter shared official injury updates on Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey, and it's good news.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Oestreicher of Ravens Wire. On today's show, preseason, it is approaching fast. The Ravens kick off their preseason on Saturday against the Eagles, and Jesse Minter shared some of his mentality heading into his first preseason game as an NFL head coach. So we'll talk about that. But in the first part of the show, obviously, we need to get to the injury updates that Jesse Minter shared about both Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey. And it's good news across the board. And honestly, it could have been a lot worse for Nate Wiggins. We know that. Marlon was a little bit more unclear, but the update's officially out from Jesse Minter. So let's start there. Why don't we? So Jesse Minter on Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey. He was asked by Jamison Hensley, Jesse Minter was, about those two guys and if there are any updates on either one of those guys. And Jesse Minter said, quote, "I would say both, Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey, are trending very well to potentially be back next week. So both are just dealing with a couple small things. I think we got good reports on both of them, and I expect both of those guys back." Wow. I mean, sigh of relief right there for me. Because again, we got the reports, me and Rappaport, no structural damage on Nate Wiggins. We heard, some of the same kind of stuff from Jeff Zrebiec and Jordan Schultz after the fact as well. But there's always that possibility that maybe, even though there's no structural damage, could it be something that, holds a guy out for a couple of weeks or maybe a month or somewhere along those lines? There was still that uncertainty, but hearing Jesse Minter, be very forthcoming with it, which is refreshing, first of all, but at the same time, just hearing that they could potentially be back next week, that's great. Now, the obvious thing here is you don't want to rush either of them back. And, Marlon's situation was a little bit more unclear than Nate's, kind of what I had gathered from the people who were out there and the reports that came out were that he had guarded Jacoby Lane on a play and then went out like the next play or something and didn't feel like Jonas Schaefer said he didn't feel it was as serious and didn't feel like anything along those lines. Nate obviously was, that was almost a catastrophe, a disaster. So, there are two sides of that, I guess. And Jesse Minter was also asked with Nate Wiggins, is it a huge sigh of relief given how it maybe looked for a second there? And Jesse Minter said, quote, "Yes. I mean, look, I would say, especially in this role, but even just as a position coach or coordinator or whatever, one of the worst feelings is seeing something like that where a guy goes down and obviously you do not know what is right at the moment. Again, I'm happy that it is hopefully a good report, and I expect Nate to be back out there fairly soon." So again, if Nate needs to take a couple weeks off from practice, and it is, maybe you go on the, you're a little bit more on the cautious end with things, cool. Sign me up for that. I mean, I am all for this Ravens team taking their time with Nate Wiggins. Nate rushing back is not a good thing. There's no point to Nate rushing back either. Nate, while the practice reps are great and, it'd be awesome to have him in there, especially as the defense continues to learn and grow in a new system. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Nate will be okay if he doesn't take a week or two of practice reps to make sure that he is 100% as possible, hopefully all the way back to 100% with this. I mean, we didn't get any notes on what the injury specifically is, but, it does feel like, I mean, if he's not back next week, I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm not, because as long as he is back by the regular season opener, there is about a month until then. I'm all cool with it. And same thing with Marlon. They have the secondary depth. There should be great opportunities for other guys in that secondary to step up, by the way. So you also have that going for you where you can get other guys reps with the ones and, figuring that out and seeing who can step up in the absence of these guys. And I think it will tell you a little bit about, hey, do we have enough here or do we need to go out and get somebody else? I think the Ravens feel comfortable with who they have. That's kind of the mindset that I get from them. If Nate and Marlon were to miss regular season time, I'd feel a little bit more worried about the situation. But for now, it's all good. We can all breathe, sigh of relief. And, that's all that I was hoping for. This was it's best case. scenario, right? Like, compared to where we were, compared to how we were feeling just a couple days ago and going through the hours leading up to Ian Rappaport, giving us that update on Nate, I I was going through a lot of emotions. It was a roller coaster for me. I'm sure it was a roller coaster for a lot of people, and I'm not alone in that fact. But you want to see Nate go into this season healthy. I feel so bad for him that he went on that show like we talked about. I mean, I've said it over and over again. Like he went on that show, that podcast, and was like, "Yeah, I haven't really felt healthy or been healthy since what he was like in high school or something." I'm paraphrasing, trying to remember it exactly, but it's been a while based off what Nate said that he has felt and been like healthy going into a year. And then this happens like just a couple weeks into the training camp after he says that. So, the Ravens avoiding a couple scares. Really, Nate was the bigger scare. Marlon was more, I think he just walked off the field and went inside or whatever, however that situation went down. But between Nate and Zay Flowers and Marlon, can we just chill out with the injury stuff? We don't need any of that. Rashod Bateman returned to practice on Thursday, so that was awesome. Like, get these guys back at practice and healthy and flowing and doing all that, right? That to me is what I want to see. But really happy that the update was what it was from Jesse Minter. And again, with the way that the first preseason game will go with a lot of guys not playing, Lamar not playing, all this, I wouldn't expect to see Nate this preseason. I wouldn't expect to see Marlon this preseason either. It'd be more for the younger stars, and Nate is a young star, but I'm talking about like who don't have as much early pedigree as Nate has. So like second year guys, etc., that I would prefer to see in the preseason. I mean, look, I think everybody should get some reps, but I'm just anticipating that's not going to happen. So I'm cool with it because, again, you don't want to risk anything or rush anything with guys who are already dealing with things, right? You just want to let it be, let those guys get back to where they need to be. But for Jesse Minter, I'm sure he was very happy when the news came down. And again, he was expressing optimism early in the fact as well. So, that kind of gave me a little hope. I'm definitely happy that Nate is okay, just for Nate's sake, and not even just for like the Ravens' sake, just for Nate's sake. So hopefully we'll see him back out there soon, but not, too soon. Don't want to rush him back, obviously, as well. Coming up though, in the second part of the show, we'll be diving into Jesse Minter's preseason mentality, because again, there's a difference between being a head coach in the preseason, coordinator in the preseason, just kind of how he's approaching things with this Ravens team. So be sure to stay tuned when coming up on the show. First, the show is brought to you by KALSHI. Before season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On KALSHI, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. And let's ask the question, will the Ravens win the AFC Championship this season? Well, the Ravens are currently trading at 14%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $673.71 if they take home the title. On KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on KALSHI. Download the KALSHI app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. KALSHI, KALSHI, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract details involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. KALSHI products not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. And the show is brought to you by Gametime. There are more live events than ever worth seeing right now. Games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets. Between long wait times, views and checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Gametime. The app is built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities to help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. And honestly, I want to know exactly what my view will look like and exactly what I'm paying. Gametime helps me know those two things ahead of time. I can buy tickets with a lot more confidence. And if the Ravens make the Super Bowl, that's an automatic bucket list event for me. And if that happens, I'm immediately hopping on Gametime if that opportunity comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits you, need the right hire. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So less time gets spent searching, more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. The minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. And whether it's deadlines piling up too much on one person's plate or trying to scale something quickly, the right person can completely change how a team operates. And that's why getting in front of qualified candidates matters. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of the show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Let's go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Moving along, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher still here with you on this Thursday, Locked On Ravens PM edition of the show. Thanks so much for being here and making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the #1 sports podcast network. We have it covered here at 5 days a week, plus more of daily Ravens coverage and content twice per day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time. Plus we have bonus episodes, instant reactions, watch alongs, the squad show, and so much more. So be here for the watch along on Saturday. We'll be doing it live for the game. It'll be really fun. This will be our second year of doing them. I can't actually display the game on the screen, unfortunately, but we watch together and have a good time. Also, Locked On Ravens hit the new Locked On channel, the new Locked On Ravens channel, I guess, under the Locked On Ravens umbrella, where, again, nothing's changing with this main show over here, but Locked On Ravens Hit is the mini version of Locked On Ravens, but not mini in content. So be sure you hit the like and subscribe button over there, video and audio form as well. But let's now dive into Jesse Minter's preseason mentality, because he was asked about, kind of what it's like going into it. First time or first game is a head coach, and, what are the things he's trying to work through going into it, particularly with this being his first, again, like not even just a preseason game, it's his first game as a head coach in general. And he said he's feeling excited just to see the team play, see a lot of the identity and some of the things that we've been talking about showing up on tape. He said, quote, "That's what we are searching for the most. I'm excited about the game management and just going through the game with different roles, different hats I'm trying to wear. So again, it's a great opportunity to actually do it in a game. And I'm definitely just excited about the whole thing." So it's big. And, he also has to manage, like the hats that he has to manage. Obviously, he's defensive play caller. He is head coach, so he's making those decisions as well. He's got to pop in with the offense, pop in with the special teams, like try to figure things out there, deliver messages. Like some of the message he's delivering right now to some of the, he was asked, what's the message he's delivering to some of the lesser known guys, the young undrafted guys, about the opportunity. And he said, quote, "Run toward the opportunity. Do not be the guy sitting around wondering how many reps you're going to get. When your number's called, run to the opportunity and take advantage of it." We've all been around different scenarios. These are the famous stories of guys that waited. It was maybe in the fourth quarter of a game and they just went in there, made plays, and it changed the trajectory of their career. So run toward the opportunity, embrace the opportunity, and then in reality, go out there and play what you've been doing your whole life. It's still the game of football. Go play with what you got here, or with what got you here, within the framework of the things that we have been teaching, and let it rip. So again, it's going to be, Jesse, I think, is going to be pretty focused on what's going on in the game, right? But, him as a leader, him as a head coach, I still remember there were those questions about Jesse Minter and his leadership qualities and, like, can he command a room? It was kind of crazy, being honest. That was kind of crazy. Jesse's saying all the right things. I think the players have really bought into what he's putting down right now. And look, it's an experience. It's a process. And I think that these 3 preseason games will give all the coaches a real opportunity to just kind of get their feet under them, right? I mean, that's the big thing, getting their feet under them and making sure that by the time the regular season rolls around, they're going to have had multiple games to figure out, okay, this is what a game day is. Head coach for Jesse Minter, offensive coordinator is Declan Doyle. That's what this looks like. I've talked about that on shows throughout the week. It's not all going to be perfect here. And the preseason is not for perfection, right? I think that's the big thing where, the Ravens won 20 plus straight preseason games. Wow, that's great. No one cares about that. Like, it was a funny record when it was happening, but no one cares about wins and losses in the preseason, right? It's about guys getting opportunities, figuring out who they are as players, but it's also figuring out who you are as a coach as well. And so when you get to week 1 against Indianapolis, this preseason is going to be majorly important just to get Jesse Minter that start. And, it could just be, hey, I have to do this as a head coach, but I'm also calling defensive plays. How do I balance that and how do I manage it? It's not going to be like Minter's calling his A stuff right here, right? He's not going to be calling that. It's going to be more of a vanilla game plan, see what you got. But he also has to evaluate, right? Like he's evaluating guys. He's not just focusing on calling defensive plays, mainly only focusing on defense. I think the exciting part, and Jesse's talked about this, is like, yeah, he does have a hand in a little bit of everything now. And he's going to have to evaluate all three aspects of the game while also assuming play calling duties, also doing all the other stuff as head coach. It's a lot, but Jesse, I think, is equipped to handle it for sure. And I think he has a lot of belief in himself. The team has a lot of belief in him as well. And, that those are all good things when it comes down to just getting, again, the word of the day here, phrase of the day, getting your feet under you. That's what Jesse Minter and these guys have to do. We talked about on the squad show, Declan Doyle calling players from the booth or from the field. It's just, this is what the preseason is for. But ultimately, this is like Jesse said, this is like the first view of what you have put together, the system that you've put in place, what you've been coaching for all this time through spring workouts, through this couple weeks of training camp. So, I'm really excited for Jesse. I'm really excited for him to kind of learn and grow. And by the time week 1 rolls around, again, I'm sure Jesse Minter would tell you if he's asked the question again, what was it like going into your first preseason game versus now? I'm sure Jesse Minter would be like, wow, I've learned a lot. So, but that's all. It's good. It's all good things. So I'm super pumped for Jesse. And I'm just pumped for the Ravens to be back on the field. Again, like football's back. I'm pumped. Come on. I'm excited for it. But that's all I have here today on Locked On Ravens. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. On the right side, like and subscribe button in video form and follow along, subscribe in audio form for 5 days a week, plus more of daily Ravens coverage and content coming up. We'll be back here tomorrow for regularly scheduled 6 a.m. programming, and then back for 6 p.m. as well. So be sure to stay tuned. I'll see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.